What's going on, guys? It's Sean and Salami. I'm putting these long form videos together for you to binge watch instead of having to click through playlists. This is all my best games I've uploaded with the two-handed hammer, but just keep in mind I do repeat myself a lot, especially in the beginning of videos when I'm giving my rundown of the weapon and how it plays. Anyway, let's get into it. So, a good thing to do is to actually go in crowds and look for counters and then heavy swing through people, but it'll take quite a few hits to kill Vanguard, so that can be a little annoying. But it drags well, it excels well, the overheads are good, the slashes are good. It's basically like the heavy mace but worse, but with way cooler skins in my opinion. I just find it looks better. So that's why I kind of tend to use this one over the heavy mace, because you guys know this is a channel for the casuals despite my hours in here. So I'm going to use something based on vibes or cool skins, and that's really it. And if you want a community of like-minded players or you want to meet people and play, there's groups going 24/7 in my Discord. It'll be in the pinned comment. Really cool stuff in there. There's no drama at all. There's also some sweat lords in there too, but they're all laid back and willing to help just about anyone. I would definitely check that out as a good way to join other Discords and get into the community. Mine's like the kind of entry point, I'd say, for a lot of people. And hopefully we got that update coming on the 5th, it said, but you know, Torn Banner doesn't always deliver on promises, so we'll see. But that's enough ranting for me. Let's get into the gameplay. A lot of you point out that I'm very patient about team damage and new players or bad players, what have you. But this is what drives me crazy, is the second guy that comes in, and that's just selfish, trying to take my kill when he's just directly in front of me and doing it blatantly on purpose. So we're just going to go on our way and wish him luck. But that first guy will excuse, because he was doing a sprint charge. That's not really his fault. Then we die to a catapult. Oh, and then also we die to a catapult. Our frustrations continue a little bit. This happens when you try and throw on console because we can't rebind things. Is if you hit LB and RB not perfectly in sync, you can't throw the fire pot. So then we struggle to get the two-handed hammer out because I don't want to fight it with a one-hander. I'm not good with those, the falchion, and it really does get us killed, that whole throwing mess. Something I did well here you may want to pay attention to is I'm doing well with the target switching. It's something you do want to do to catch people by surprise. Unfortunately, a situation like this, I can't really explain how I picked each one, but it was mostly intuitive as they were coming towards me. But definitely make sure when you're fighting multiple people, you're not just attacking the same guy. So if someone manages to get a kick on you and break your block, what you want to do is duck under it. You'll see me do it right there. And it's kind of a last resort thing, because if they kick, it's a guaranteed hit if they attack right away. But he delayed for a second, so it is your like last chance to kind of get out of it. And also just clip it if you do manage to do it, because it looks so cool. This is where I get greedy. Instead of repositioning, I go after the guy who looked like he was healing. And now I'm comically out of position when I could have just gone back to the battering ram and be with my team. Now I do a poor job with positioning, but that's okay because archer kills are always worth it. So while that was a mistake, sometimes you gotta weigh the pros and cons, and an archer kill is worth a death, but luckily it pays off anyway because everyone else kind of ignored us. Maybe they didn't like archers either. And this was interesting because They're taking a long time to get their catapults on the gate. I don't know if someone new was on it or they didn't know how to load it or what. So they haven't even hit it yet. It was a very odd situation and kind of put them behind for the rest. Here, as I'm watching it back, I'm noticing that they're not even really hitting the gate with the catapult. It's mostly just going after like people that are fighting in the field. So, excuse me, you gotta wonder if it's just maybe a new player or something. I'm not really sure there. This is more lighthearted trolling, not disrespect, but I do emote no because he tried to kick me more than once, and you shouldn't really be relying on kicks at all, but doing it too many times, I have started doing that. So this is one of those fun little emoting moments as I say thank you for him having my back in that fight. Also, he didn't get in the way or anything, and he throws me a health kit and I get some health. That's not why I do it, but it's the little things in this game. So they end up getting the gate with like 1 second left, and that whole catapult situation I'm pretty sure leaves them behind on the timer. So now they only have 6 minutes, and this is a tough one. This part's a little awkward. I don't think I should be going up by the gate after it falls. Maybe it's better to just hang out by that ballista or the town square, but I feel guilty because everyone else is in there, so I may as well anyway. It's only going to be about 10 seconds, so I'm not going to edit it out so you see what happens, and I'm talking over this part anyway, but the sound issues do come back, but by the time I respawn, it's back to normal. Here I back up in hopes he's going to come after me, just because I don't want this fight to end, but I don't want that archer to be in the way either, so I try and get around that like little hallway. We're able to get the guy with the spear, and the archer just won't stop, so we're going to retreat. Looking back, I forgot about this, but now I have the devious plan that I'm going to get behind him and do an intelligent flank for once instead of just rushing in like a madman. And we're going to burn the archer alive with a fire pot. That one felt good. And as you can see, they are running out of time. They're not going to be able to get this win. It was really hard to not talk about my stats in this one because I had 50 kills in just 3 stages, but I needed to stop doing that, so I'm glad you guys pointed it out. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Last game. But it was really fun. And it's one of those games where we had good players on both sides, so it was pretty even, which I guess is why it went on so long. It was a little disappointing I didn't use one of my better weapons, just because then I would have liked to see like how many kills I could get in a lobby that was like pretty even. And like I said, went on so long because like the longer the game goes, the more kills you get, right? This is one of those maps I like defending, by the way. I just find it fun. My friend is going to go for the catapult. Shout out NYR, he's a cool guy, but he's going to go for the catapult, which is a mistake. We're never doing that. We emote with this guy because we're going to have his back and do this nice little 2-on-2, but then a spawn wave comes. Also, there's a guy named Dr. Funyuns who's been like continuing to support the channel for a long time, or at least relative to how long I've been doing it, which is a month or so, like since I started doing it seriously at least. He had an interesting question and I wanted to propose it to you guys. He asked what music I listen to, or no, he didn't ask what music I listen to. He asked if I listen to music while I play. And it's kind of funny because I definitely do. I listen to like music I like normally listen to, like indie rock and stuff, but I've also kind of gotten into listening to like Dark Souls boss themes and stuff because it makes me feel like I'm the main character, like the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, Game of Thrones soundtrack. So I was wondering if you guys want to like comment what you listen to while you play, because I love music. I find that like something that brings people together. So I was just wondering. Comment down below though. It's interesting watching this back. I did start off very cold. I died a lot. I promise though, if you stick with the video to the end, I do get better as it goes on. Going to get myself into trouble here because I accidentally step into the fire and then I'm missing my overheads because I can't see exactly, and I run out of stamina, can't cancel my animation by dodging, and I get killed by a battle axe, unfortunately. By the way, there was some debate about if I should, what do you call it, fast forward or just cut out the what do you call it, the walk back from the spawns, right? And I decided to go with fast forwarding and remain with that just because someone had a really interesting point. I wish I had his name in front of me, but I forget what it is. But he said it's more immersive when I fast forward because it's not that I'm hiding anything. Like, that was my worry, if I fade in and out, like in between walkbacks, that you guys would think I'm hiding a death or something. But when he said it was more immersive to see the fast forward because you could see the walkback, I thought that was more important. So I know some people don't like the fast forward, unfortunately. I hope you keep watching though. I keep having to do heavy swings in crowds just because that's, you get hit stop with the blunt damage. What I am making a mistake of doing is dragging. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's like a compulsion. But that's a good way to get myself killed because when you're fighting multiple people, you should not be slowing down your swing any more than you have to. Here we're doing a good job of weaving in and out of combat, picking our spots, and basically not overextending because, like, I always want to jump up on that ramp and get some cool kills and then die, but we're fighting the urge to do that and staying alive. It's funny, I'm not very high up on the scoreboard right now. It's interesting because the Warhorn is just so automatic for points, but I'm really bad at throwing fire pots, as some of you noticed. So I do cost myself a lot of points, even though I'm near the top in like kills or takedowns, all that stuff. By the end of the game, I'm number 1, but it's just funny when you think about that special attack, how important it can be. Didn't see this poor guy here. feel like I'm dying a lot at this point. I'm just kind of rushing in a little too much, like, and going on my own. So don't make that mistake if you're new. Always stick with your team. Here I'm very good at throwing a fire pot. I spam sorry because that was bad. That's rough. I just want to shout out this guy that I'm about to fight one-on-one. He has been watching a lot. We've been emoting, and someone on PC that I've played with told me that he has been watching and said something in the PC chat. So if you are watching this one, drop your Discord below, and very good fight. And you're a very good player as well. So yeah, that's my little personal shout out to him. And now we get in the one-hander fight, which is kind of interesting because I never really use one-handers, and we were able to win and use a forward spawn, which is very clutch. Here we come face to face, one-on-one with a level 1000, but it doesn't happen. A lot of people show up. I would have loved to fight him. He's a much better player than me. I've seen him a lot. We emote. I've never talked to him though. Those are some of those cool moments when you run into like another high-level player. It goes one-on-one, but like I said, unfortunately, it doesn't happen. Now I'm kind of getting in a little bit of a rhythm for the rest of the game, which is nice. And I'm I wanted to say, I'm actually really liking the two-handed hammer. This might be a weapon I use for a little bit for sure. Kind of like those cool moments I talked about earlier. We get in a cool fight here. It doesn't last very long because that's kind of the nature of the 64 player fights, but fighting other top players, when you're kind of in like the center of the chaos or even off to the side like that, while all the like madness is going on in this game, is just some of the coolest moments. Like I said, at this point it seems to be that we've gotten a little bit of a rhythm with how we're using this weapon. Sometimes the hit stop, if I haven't used a blunt weapon, throws me off. So having the heavy swing in crowds was something I was struggling with. I forget if I mentioned that. But now it's kind of coming full circle. We can so like it's been nice because now you might see more videos of using this or the heavy mace. Maybe another one. I'm trying to think of other ones, but it's just been it's fun to experiment with different weapons. I don't know how people just stick to one and one only at all times. This guy sits on my throne. Not cool. That's my throne.
Keep the enemy away from the air! You are ill-informed. Agatha has already lost the war.
This was fun. I don't think I've gotten that many VIP missions recorded, like when I'm the VIP at the end, just because we haven't done those in maps. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna give some tips here and there about doing it because I'm almost always it on maps where you have it. So I'm gonna give some pointers. One is that you see I never stop moving, and that's because archers are gonna shoot you a lot. It's pretty tough if you just stand still behind that pillar because they can go all the way on that other side and shoot at you. Another tip I can think of is I picked up the greatsword when I got in. As much as I love the longsword, the greatsword feels better if I get into a lot of trouble because you don't lose initiative if you're hit. So if I'm surrounded, I've clutched it a few times where I just swing wildly and kind of kill a few people until my teammates come. And the longsword slashes are just not strong enough. You want to use stabs with that. So definitely pick up a harder hitting weapon that you can kind of slash, like a messer or something. But there's usually a great sword around you could pick up for some reason on these VIP ones. And that's if you're not picking up a shield, which is always a good call as well. You love to see what my team is doing here. The engineers are setting up. They're defending me very well. If you haven't watched before, I know people complain when their team is bad, but you always gotta love when your team is doing what they're supposed to. Try and think positively in this game.
Agreed.
Not much going on right now just because of how well my team is doing this. No one's really getting too close just yet.
You've done your duty.
This is the only time we get in any real danger, and it's when we get shot. We can't see too well by the fire. I thought there was a lot more of them around on the other team, but it was mostly my allies having my back. And now we're going to flex a little bit and run into... this isn't because I was in danger. I just flexed a little bit to let them know, you know what? We won. Look at us. We're so cool. And there you go, guys. I'm going to let the stats show real quick. And I appreciate you guys as always, and I will see you in the next one. What's going on, guys? It's Shawnee Salami, and today we're bringing toxic masculinity back to Chivalry 2 in the form of the two-handed hammer. I absolutely love this one because the blunt damage on knights is crazy and it's very quick. The only issue you'll get is hit stop as we kill someone AFK here, and you could avoid that hit stop by just heavy swinging. And a good strategy you can do with this thing is to go into crowds, look for a counter, and then heavy swing through a lot of people. So if countering slashes is something that comes easy to you, there's usually some guy out there in a crowd that's going to feed you one. So you just heavy swing through the entire team, and if they got a lot of knights on there, you're going to be topping the scoreboard in no time. And you could do the same kind of thing on heavy mace. I don't necessarily know if it's the optimal way to play these weapons, but that's how I do it. And here, this drove me up a wall. Out in the open with no cover against two warbows, we just get Boromired. But it's okay, because then we're going to respawn, chase him down maniacally with the whole team at our back, special attack him, laugh, kick his corpse, then teabag him. But we actually noticed there's an AFK guy in the bushes. That was very strange. Interesting little part there. So yeah, the archers deserve all the hate they get. If you're a little new here, we don't mind trolling them. They're fair game. We're nice to everyone else, but we got to reform those legless fanboys, as my friend Seasick Khan always puts it. The thought process here is to cut off the bridge and use that fire pot. There's only one guy, and it's the archer we teabagged. So this guy means business with the battle axe. He's not hesitating. He's going right after everyone. And I'm being very cautious of the archer because I teabagged him. He's probably going to go after me as soon as I turn that corner. And I get burned by that guy throwing the battle axe. Absolute Chad move by that guy. You'll love to see him kill 2 people that quickly. And then he just turns around, throws the battle axe. In a world full of archers and spearmains, I want you guys to be more like him. That guy's name was Crump. Awesome play by him. I've seen people fall off this ledge before when they're trying to cut the corner, but not 2 people, so we have to laugh at them. So if you're keeping track, that is our 3rd AFK guy. So I'm going to check the scoreboard. It seemed like they were pretty outmatched. The kills were very lopsided early. So after we get in this fight, we make the decision we're going to switch to defense. There you go, nice knowing you attackers as we make the change. It's honestly not a big deal, I don't mind because I have been vibing with this Teutonic helmet. I usually go with the helmetless look, but I've been liking that little horn thing on it, so it's pretty cool. And I feel like it goes well when you're using a very menacing weapon like the two-handed hammer because you just look like a giant juggernaut of the battlefield. And our team is dying so quickly, I don't think it's even their fault that a lot of them haven't respawned yet. So we're trying to hold them off until that spawn wave does come, but someone gets us with a nice overhead to overhead feint, and that'll do that. There's really not any bad attacks on this weapon. That overhead was really good. It just doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses other than the fact that the heavy mace just completely outclasses it. It fills the same role but with a better stab, I believe it is, and I think you get less stamina drain. Something like on block, so something like that. But two-handed hammer, cooler skins. You guys have heard me say this. You look good, you play good. Right here is a really good example of just how much damage this thing can do in a crowd with those heavy swings, especially when there's a lot of knights. And here's another example of it, right? So someone gives us an easy slash counter, we're going to do it through a bunch of people and ignore that hit stop with that mechanic. They did end up finishing the boat while I was respawning, so now we're going to defend the gate. This is another place where the two-handed hammer or the heavy mace can shine with what I was talking about, but you really can't be hiding. You got to be in the front line so you're not hurting your teammates. Nice special attack there. That was a good hit. This isn't my team's fault, but this is how I knew they really were trying, and it wasn't one of those examples where no one's doing the objective. Is there's no place for them to be but on the gate, and they're just dying so much quicker than the other team that anytime I would go back even to heal, it looked like they were just pushing up so much. So that's kind of when it's a good time to switch for me when I have a factor on these games, because I don't want newer players to think like it's just hopeless, you're always going to lose on a defense. You could definitely come out with wins if you have enough people trying, and there's not a lot of switching going on. I know Torn Banner does really mess you over sometimes with just the teams being messed up from the beginning, but without calling out names, people did switch in this one, so that's why I thought it was a good call to go over there. Now you can see again what I'm saying. There's just no one alive to even stop them. They have like all these barrels. They're going hard at it. And I decide I'm going to kill a few guys with me until that explosion goes off. So that's why I'm just rushing in, doing that thing in crowds, getting a fight with the invisible man, and then we blow up. Now, he thinks I ran away, but I didn't hear no bell. I'm just getting my two-handed hammer out, and then he does kind of make the mistake of turning his back on me, and we get a stab in. It's funny, this stage is just so weird to me because I never know if I should even bother defending the relics, because I have played this game since release and I've never once seen it end here. Like, I've seen some weird ones, but this is the one, and I think the Siege of Rudhelm Burn the Tents are the only two that I haven't seen. I have zero clue how I survived this sequence coming up. So we're completely surrounded. There's a lot of people around. I'm doing my best, trying to stay alive. Some keep going because they just assume I'm going to die. We get like about 4 kills, I'd say. And now we're going to run back. And instead, I think on my feet and hide in this bush. And only one guy sees me. But we have enough room to heal before he can get over there. And he's not expecting me to finish the heal that quickly. We get some overheads on him. And we made it. I was flabbergasted. I don't even know if I've used that word before, but I just was kind of speechless. Pretty funny moment. Just a lot of plot armor, but also some quick thinking too. As they're pushing up closer, I'm thinking I need to stay alive because my team really is relying on me as I have the most killing power, and there's not really anyone close to me just by nature of being a high level and them being lower levels. So I really do want to stay alive and be that last line of defense, but I get impatient and I go up a little bit. It does work out though. I get a lot of kills despite them being some vanguards, not all knights. And now it's just falling apart a little bit, so we're kind of hanging on for dear life at this point, pinned all the way back at the door. We're gonna hype the boys up because they're doing a great job, and we just want to improve morale for this last push potentially to try and seal this win. After getting my PTSD triggered to World of Warcraft raids and stepping in the fire too much, I'm going to rush back to defend the church because that really did mess us over and be standing in that, because now they're about to break it down. I'm going to give a last-ditch effort, see if I can try and do it, but I'm unable to. With just 10 seconds left, they got it. Now it's going to come down to this. You always want to look above to make sure those chandeliers haven't fallen yet, or make sure they have fallen, I should say. and I never really use them to get kills, but I try and look out for them. Usually someone will knock them down like right in the beginning, but this time they were up for a little bit, so it's just something you got to keep your eye on in case that happens in your game. Now you see this guy with the pickaxe. You want to prioritize killing them on objectives like this where they need to break something, just because they get bonus damage when they're a field engineer. The true heroes of Chivalry 2, thank them for their service, but they get bonus damage against any objective where you got to break something like that. So definitely, if you see one beelining it towards the tomb, you go after them right away. I skipped ahead quite a bit just because there was a lot of healing at the bandage thing behind the tomb, and then doing it again after an archer hit me, and then I stepped in my own fire pot. But now we're back in the action. We got 2 minutes left to defend the tomb. One of the comical moments, he throws a shield, I say no, we laugh, and then we go about our ways and don't fight. Pretty funny. Brutal amount of team damage here, no excuse for that. A really nice streak there, moving through the battlefield and picking off people. But now we're going to get in this fight with a guy using a glaive. I can't die to a glaive. That would be humiliating. And this archer just keeps body blocking me. I don't know what that's about. He doesn't get the kill, of course. Doesn't know how to use his weapon. This guy goes for a kick. I tell him no, because you don't want to do that against someone like me who has a lot of hours in this game. GG's in good fight though, but you'll never guess what happens next. Up above, I have a pretty cool video where I tried first person for the first time. If you guys want to check that out, I'd appreciate it, as we seal the win. And I also have a greatest hits playlist up above too as well. So I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. From the beginning, I wanted to talk about Morg for a second. One of my best friends in this game. We weren't in a party together, actually. I was playing with C6 Khan and 7 Alpha, two really cool guys and good players. You especially know Khan's good if you're an archer, because he hunts you down. But Morg is next level, and we had a lot of trouble in this match with this team because they were doing their best. It was one of those kind of games, you know how I talk about, like, you know what, I don't mind trying to help this team, they're giving their all kind of thing. Morg is like, she gets some flack for team switching sometimes. The reason she does it though isn't to go to attack, it's because she loves the Masons. That's like one of the things she likes about this game. I don't really know the story of the two teams, but it seems like the Masons always get an advantage, so I think people misunderstand why she's doing that. I think like in the PC chat she's mentioned before, people get annoyed at her, but you guys gotta leave her alone. She's like the nicest person. And me and her finished, she finished first, I finished second by a significant amount by the end of the game. One guy mentioned that I talk about stats too much, and I kind of wanted to touch on that before I give my thoughts on the two-handed hammer. The reason I care about stats is because unless I'm in like a server browser where I'm not like the best player usually, sometimes you're kind of competing against your own self to see what kind of score you can put up. But more importantly, I want to know, as like a top player in a public lobby, again, I don't do comp, that I want to know how I did, and I just like to see if I improve or get worse over time. Lately, because the game's in a bit of a lull right now, it seems like I've done a little worse, but I think that's mostly because the lobbies have been sweatier, so I give myself a pass. But it's more like playing against yourself kind of thing. It's not like I'm like, oh, I want to do better than the other guys. It's kind of funny because even if it's someone I don't know, like for example, Morg, I'm really happy finished first. She was ahead of me. That means she's getting close to 1,000, by the way, shout out. So she's getting that EXP, she's getting better every time she plays. And it's funny because then, even if there's a name I recognize and I don't know the guy, but like say I emote with a PC player I see a lot, right? It's kind of funny because then I'm like, I've never talked to this guy, but man, he's getting better and he's a cool guy. I'm happy for him. I don't know. It's just something like that. I think that's better than taking it out on your teammates if you take it out on yourself, at least. It makes you more fun to be around when you're not getting angry just because someone's not doing as well as you. At least that's what I hope. Now, in terms of the two-handed hammer, basically the two-handed hammer is much worse than the heavy mace because it does the same thing. It's a quick, blunt, two-handed weapon with the similar reach. It doesn't get the war horn. You can, or on knight, but you can use it on vanguard. So it's kind of redundant in a sense. Here's the difference though. It has really cool skins. As the guy in the beginning of the video said, the heavy mace, as fun as it is, as good as it is, and it like I said, it's an improvement over the two-handed hammer in every stat while doing the same thing. But the two-handed hammer looks cool. You know, that's what matters. That's the most important thing. Sometimes it's like when professional athletes say, like, what is it? Like, look good, play good. That's how I feel. I feel confident with this thing. I look like Robert Baratheon swinging around a giant hammer in Game of Thrones in his prime. It's just, I don't know. I think that's a really cool thing about it. It's like you're using just like a big warhammer. Who doesn't love that? It's like blunt force trauma. That's the most Chad weapon type there is. More so than like a fancy looking sword, which is what I use, by the way. Main at least. But yeah, so let's get into this. I'll comment here and there, and I kind of did this last time where I went on a big rant in the beginning, but I'm gonna let this breathe a little bit now. That's a lot of fast forwarding because just in there was me getting killed by a catapult without fighting anyone. These are always disappointing because I would have liked to see if I can beat this guy one-on-one. My teammate kind of distracts him and I get a free hit in. The teammate's doing exactly what he should. He's not doing anything wrong. So don't get me wrong. It's just I would have liked to see how that would play out because some of my favorite moments in this game are those duels where it's one-on-one, because I don't like duels on the duel server just because it's a little boring and looks janky. But when you have to make it quicker and there's not infinite time because you got that timer in the back of your head, someone's around, I just think that's really cool when that happens. Anyway. That was Khan kicking a archer's corpse. That's what he does, and we love him for it. And while we have a straightforward objective that's always automatic, they're going to burn the tents. And there's kind of a lull in the action, so to speak. I would like to talk about Morg's playstyle some more, because you guys, you know how I talked about Ace in that other video? This is something I want to do. I think it's pointless if I'm like making these videos, growing a lot, and I'm not taking my friends with me. So just like Ace, I want to talk about how Morg plays a little bit. Let me fast forward to this real quick though, bear with me. He's becoming self-aware and like using the fire pot at the right time. Look at that. But yeah, so Morg, I make memes about being the Tasmanian devil. It's stressful to watch her. It really gives me anxiety because she uses the war axe, and I think that's her right there. And she's always fighting multiple people. At least that's how she played for a long time. But that's kind of how I picture her playing now. So she's like jumping around like a whirlwind, basically. Like that, like I said, she's the Tasmanian devil. Like if you ever saw that cartoon, it's kind of crazy to watch. I think right now she might be using the battle axe. If that's her, I was kind of curious. And she's always fun to be in voice chat with. A lot of us like use other discords we're in. And yeah, so you'll see her a lot in like the late night. There's a lot of us that are at the late night lobbies. Shout out Hogue, the biggest troll in the game. Trying to reform that guy. It's probably not going to happen. He's probably banned from the Discord by now, by the time you're watching this. But anyway, yeah, and there's Khan. He's getting his own video at one point. Trust him, it's going to be about killing archers. I was in voice chat with Khan for this one, and it looks like he went to go kill the ballista. He has an insane hatred for archers and any ranged attacks. So, if he probably asked me to come help him, and then we clear that out pretty well. Two nice one-on-one kills here, but you know, the archer vulture has to take the takedown kill. I'm not someone that stresses team like our kill stealing, but you know the archer was just licking his chops at a chance to take someone's kill and make someone's life miserable and pad his own stats. Here we get some good heals in, get a kill. We're gonna try and bandage up and get around the corner. So we start doing that, you'll never guess what happens next. Very fortunate here. So we get a little 1vx in. That guy goes to heal, and we're actually hitting the forward spawn just in time to be able to get it. Very lucky there. This was pretty cool. I turn away to get out of range and then excel. It kind of looks like a drag, but I actually excel it while I'm turned away into the swing to be far enough away to get the kill. And then that's a triple kill, I think. Maybe a double kill. But we do pretty well here. And yeah, so that was a good start but to the objective. But then it's kind of hard to fight these guys with the spears and the teammates. I keep running from the spear guy, and I feel like the two-handed hammer isn't a good matchup for it. But also, and again, when I say this, it's not disrespecting him. He's doing what he should. He's around his teammates a lot, which is a good thing with the spear. But it's just so irritating to fight that sometimes I just turn the other way when the spear guys are around their teammates and like can just stab through them and such. Here, once again, we get in a fight with our arch nemesis. I see this guy a lot. He's the invisible guy that you guys can't see. I always beat him, but it's really tough. So here I do some team damage by accident and someone comes. He kind of gets like lost in the shuffle. Then we go back at it with invisible man. We just keep swinging wild. But now he's dead, so we actually start getting some kills that show up on the scoreboard. Unlike him, who completely, he's real, he exists. Pretty intense one-on-one here. I kind of forget how this goes actually, but it's pretty back and forth and we do come out on top. You know I have trouble with those one-handers, so I'm happy to see that. So while me and Morg are respawning, or one of us, maybe both of us, it gets a little tough. So now they're getting this push here with a minute to go while I was dead, and it's coming down to a minute. It gets really intense, so they're giving all they got right now because there are people who aren't doing the objective, must be looking at the timer, and they're starting to do like one last push to see if they can do it. And I'll let you guys see how this goes because it comes down to it. And as you can see, we do get it done. It was close, and I'm gonna put me and Morg's stats up because I know you guys like to see it at the end when it shows mine. Someone pointed out, and you guys have been liking that. But this time I'm gonna crop the scoreboard because you can see we carried. Like, again, we won early, so they did their job. But it was we lapped the field. So I'll put that up now. That's about what, I'm not a math guy, but that's. So we're playing today with Cage. He's the coolest guy, very laid back. Near the catapult main, also ballista. He's pretty good with the ballista. He mains those great weapons. And then we're playing with Seasick Khan. This is one of my favorite people on earth. I'm gonna gush about him for just a minute, guys. Discord is in the pinned comment, by the way. He improves every time we play. He's a famed archer hunter, but he's also becoming a good player. You guys he teabags every archer he sees. Sometimes he gets distracted and specifically goes after them, but I just really want to shout him out because he doesn't blame the game, he doesn't blame anything, and he kind of gets better just when he has time to play. And he's a great example of someone that just, like, if you want to get better, you can. So it's not about blaming, it's about looking inward. And he actually finished ahead of me in this game because his kids are monsters. They're menaces. And I mean that in like a nice way because they're just like him. He's a nut job, but we love him. And he gets limited time to play. So now that he's been playing more, like I said, he looks at himself and how to get better. Anyway, love you, Khan. One of the most loyal friends I have, internet or otherwise. And real quick, guys, we're also looking, some people are interested in playing DayZ in the Discord. So if you play that game as well, definitely join up because the goal of this community that I'm trying to build is something that long outlasts Chivalry 2. And it would be really cool if we branched out to different games. So a lot of us well, not really me. I'm not playing right now. It's a great game. They're looking to get a DayZ group going, so definitely check that out if you're interested, if that's another game you play. But anyway, let's get into the gameplay. It's funny because with the two-handed hammer, I put on the helmet for the Templar because you look just very scary, and it kind of reminds me of like a Robert Baratheon because he had that antler helmet. It's pretty intimidating, I would say, as far as like a game goes, right? And I just feel like a giant berserker. Now, I kind of thought it would be better for a castle setting because, like, it's kind of funny. So sometimes I pick my weapon based on, like, where it is. Like, for example, this came out during the Aberfell update, which was very Vanguard focused and claymores and stuff. So I like going Vanguard Greatsword, and then I kind of like using the action movie weapons that I typically use on, like, Rudhelm, Lionspire, Galencourt, things like that. And what you really want to do with the two-handed hammers, guys, or the heavy mace, most blunt weapons that are like decently fast. I did this in another video recently. It's very fun. I don't know if it's the best strategy to go into crowds, look for someone to feed you an easy slash counter, and then heavy swing through everyone, especially like this game when there was a lot of knights. Because what heavy swings do when you have a blunt weapon that usually has hit stop is the hit stop doesn't count, and this just does massive damage because of that multiplier on knights that you get. So when you're fighting multiple people and it's like there's enough time to do a heavy swing, that's how you avoid hit stop and can hit multiple people. So definitely keep that in mind, guys, but don't get it twisted. This is a great weapon. Again, I'm kind of everything I say with this weapon applies to the heavy mace, so keep that in mind. But they're both great weapons, 1 versus 1. They're quick, you can use good drags, they're really just great all around. And really quick, guys, I want to fully disclose this, and it feels bad, but lately we haven't been doing the objective as much when we're stacked up with 4 people like this, because if you have 4 good players and you're all on one team, which, like, we don't always switch. I like to switch defense sometimes when there's enough of us. This game we happen to not to because it wasn't any like level of thousands with us. Khan is good, they're all good, but it's not like they, no offense, like I have a lot of time this game, influence the game like I do pretty much. But the idea is we don't really want a game to end too early on defense, or quite frankly steamroll them if we're on offense. So we kind of do avoid the objective at times, which doesn't feel great. If I'm by myself, I always will. But when you just have 4 guys stacked up, it makes it a little too easy. And it also can end a good map early. Like me and Con were playing Lionspire, and we had another level. I forget who it was, but then we ended at stage 1. And like, who wants Lionspire to end that quickly? It's a great map. So, and then another example, we were on Galencourt. We let them get the first, like, what was it, 2 objectives. And I think on the first or second gate, I don't remember which, we're like, all right, let's play for the win now. And we completely won. Just very easily. It's just sometimes these public lobbies, like, it's not like all good players most of the time, unless you get like a lobby with someone streaming or a sweaty lobby by chance. I just wanted that out there because I just felt it was kind of important to be honest with you guys, because I don't want you to follow that example if you're a new player. So another tip I can give you guys is if you get the forward spawn option, you almost always want to take that, because this came up in a voice chat today while we were all playing. When you are on defense especially, it will save you so many times, because if you're just running, perfect example right here, right? If they take the forward spawn, they'll spawn on the other side of the rocks. If they don't do that, they're completely trapped. They can't really survive unless they get very lucky. So if you notice, they can't get stuck there. When you forward spawn, if you're brand new, just so you know, you die, it doesn't count as a death, so you just respawn. Excuse me, and you start way further back. And this is actually a great example if you see what I'm saying here. That was pretty blatant by me, and I do apologize, but I kind of deserved that whack. I've been a little guilty of team damage lately. So coming up real quick, we get downed by a teammate. He does it on purpose, thinking I'm on the other team. I just want to give you guys how I look at this. He could be new. I checked, he was very new. He's not maybe even noticing the icon that tells him he downed a teammate. Don't vote kick these guys if you check their level and they're brand new. You gotta start somewhere, right? Like, I get a little annoyed in the moment and pretty angry, which is why I avoid live commentary. But then like 2 seconds later, I'm fine. Like once I die and get revived or whatever, unless I was like deathless, I'm not stressing it. I don't think you guys should either, because we had to start somewhere. And quite frankly, maybe he's a high level one time and he's just not the brightest. That's not his fault. Just wanted to go on that little tangent, because it is a shame when you see someone who's like level 150, maybe is the heir for the first time, and they don't do so well and they get vote kicked. I don't know. It's just a little thing that bothers me, because we want this game to survive for a long time. However, not the archer on my team who just downed me, because by nature, we have to hate on him. He should be playing a different class. So disregard what I said about the guy fighting in melee. That does not apply when you down your teammate with an arrow. So what I'm noticing with this is I am using a lot of heavy swings, a lot of drags with the heavy drags. And I don't think it costs me as much as when I use the greatsword, because that's the trap I fall into with the greatsword. But I wouldn't really do this in a sweaty lobby or like a server browser, some kind of event people are doing. But in these, it's a lot of fun, and so many people fall for these. And like I said earlier, with the weapons with hit stop, you just kind of swing through people. and it's a quicker weapon than a greatsword. Because if I do that with the greatsword all day, people could just gamble it. But it's so slow at times with the windup. I do think, by the way, a good thing you can do on if you're on PC is maybe even unbind the scoreboard button, because that will get in your head when you're looking at how you're doing too much. Because I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well with viewers, and it drives me a little crazy when I'm dying too much, and I want to help the team and do well. I just check it way too much. And a big tip, I think Strider does this as well, he told me, is he doesn't even check it until the game's over, which if you can have the discipline to do that, which clearly I don't have, definitely keep that in mind, because then you're just playing in that nice little flow state.
Into the stone circle and slay the pagan warlord!
This was a little bit of team damage, but if you guys can please give me a pass, I was pushing the druids pretty hard. And there you guys have it, another win with the fellas from the Unyielding Discord. Love you guys, especially Khan, who actually finished ahead of me. Like I said, he's improving so much. That's my guy right there. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.